Howl is a film that centres on this group of characters who are all on board this train. The train breaks down and they kind of get stuck in the centre of this forest where the track has been going through. Unfortunately for them, it is a full moon and the werewolves are out. And these werewolves descend on this train and essentially hold these people captive, picking them off one by one in rather grisly ways. The main character is this guy called Joe, played by Ed Speleers, or Speleers, I don't know how you pronounce that name. But yeah, he plays this ticket collector and we see right off the bat this guy has no real joy left in his life. He's no power, he feels powerless because he's in a mundane job in which he gets absolutely no respect whatsoever. We see it in the opening scenes when he's walking through this train car trying to get people's tickets and no one is giving him any respect. They're just the most unlikable bunch. That is, however, until the film gets going. Once the werewolves attack and this guy starts to kind of step up to the plate a bit, people warm to him and they show a more human side. And actually, I liked this element of the film because the film really is about how we go through our daily lives not really paying attention to the people around us, and we make judgments, but those judgments are based out of our kind of self-centered kind of looking at our own lives, looking at what's going on in our life in that particular moment that is dragging us down, and then we end up taking it out on, well, people like this guy who have really crappy jobs in which people pay them no respect. So it's not because these people are horrible people, nasty people, except one of them we will learn later on. There's a guy at the start who actually he comes across as like he might be the nice guy, you know, but actually he's a douchebag. We learn very quickly he's a douchebag and he stays a douchebag. Whereas the people at the beginning that we thought were all douchebags start to soften up, start to show different sides of themselves that make us realise that actually these guys are just people. We all, at times, get up on the wrong side of bed, and I think this film is just realistic about that. Now, I really liked the casting in this. I think that the mainly people who you've probably never heard of, I mean, I got sucked into buying this on Blu-ray because it was $2.99. This is the Blu-ray. I hold this up because I want to show you right there. It says Sean Pertwee. You can't see that because it's going blurred. But yeah, I'm a fan of Sean Pertwee. I watch Gotham, I review all of Gotham on my channel, and his name was second in the credits. So yeah, I bought it. It was only $2.99. I thought, it looks a bit like Dog Soldiers. The guy is hardly in it, I've got to say. Literally blink and you miss him. I've done scenes as an extra in TV shows that have had more screen time than what he gets here. I hate that. I hate when they do that, when they take someone who's probably the most well known in the cast, they get them in for a day's shoot just so that they can put their name on the poster and entice more people. It annoys me, but that being said, had his name not been on the front cover of this Blu-ray, I wouldn't have bought the film and then I wouldn't have seen it. And I've got to say, I'm glad I did, because this is what I would consider to be quite an underrated gem. On IMDb, this has something like a 5.2 out of 10, something like that. On Letterboxd, it's got like a 2.3. That is seriously, seriously underrated. This film is much better than those grades like would make it out to be. There's a lot of gruesome special effects in here, a lot of practical work. The guy who directed this did the special makeup effects for The Descent and films like that, so he's very experienced in that regard, and it shows. Howl does walk very familiar paths that we've seen in other horror films, and I think that's kind of inescapable these days. There's very few original ways to go about things. But the main thing is, does it entertain me? Does it grab me? Does it hook me? Does it scare me when it should? Does it gross me out when it should? And the answer to all those questions is yes. You know, so yeah, while we get some of these characters that we've seen in many films before, we kind of know roughly where it's going to head, it doesn't bother me because I was thoroughly entertained from start to finish. And like I say, I do think it is pretty good social commentary on modern life, the way we can be in a crowded room full of people and yet not really know anyone, not really pay any attention to anyone. It's only in moments of extreme circumstances, dire circumstances, that people suddenly start paying attention to their fellow man, and I think that's an important message. I think it's one that we kind of need to pay attention to. But as I say, if you're not bothered about the message, if you don't want to come for some social commentary, that's fine, because there's plenty in this movie to like besides that. Lots of gore, lots of action, some pretty funny moments as well that come out of that. And some really great creature design. So if you're a horror fan, if you like werewolf movies, I love a good werewolf movie. Dog Soldiers, you know, still being up there. Ginger Snaps as well is one of my favourites. But this, I can safely say, sits pretty well alongside those films. Maybe not quite as good, but it's very solid, and it's much better than a lot of other films I've seen in this subgenre of horror. I give Howl a 3.5 out of 5, and I think it's, as I say, very underrated and definitely worth checking out. It's a British film, so it does have that very British sensibility about it, although it's not full of F-bombs as well, which was something that I was pleasantly surprised by. I tend to find that a lot of these British horror comedy type films, they're always filled with swearing, and I'm happy they didn't feel the need to go that route in this film. Just, you know, good dialogue, good characterizations, and a well executed little indie British horror. Yeah, check it out. If you have seen this film already, then please comment below and let me know what you thought about it. Until next time, crack it.